guys, Garden Fairy here. This is my very first video and I'm coming to you guys going to show you how to start your garden. For beginners, for people who may have tried it before, had no success. I've gardened quite a bit before and was very successful. So there's not really any rule books on exactly how you can garden. Honestly, I winged it. So here we have, I'll show you what I have on my patio table here. I have potting soil. This isn't any special potting soil, it's just an all-purpose potting soil. You can get this at Walmart, Target, even Dollar Tree, I believe, has potting soil that you can get. So don't overthink the soil, okay? And then the next, of course, we need our essentials, the seeds. Now, if you notice, I got cilantro, onion, pepper. These seeds were 25 cents at Dollar Tree. So you might want to go, if you have a Dollar Tree that you live close to, 25 cents per pack. And then I got this also from the Dollar Tree. This was $1, and it's just a tomato grow kit. It has everything you need inside. It has the dirt, the seed, and obviously the little container. Okay? All you need is the water. And then we need our little shovel. You don't have to be specific on the shovel, just a small little gardening tool that you can scoop up the soil and put into the containers. Next, we have our planting containers. Now, I have several types. See, here's the ceramic. It's a little bit dirty because I've used them before. The plastic. These were all at the Dollar Tree. So like I said, you don't have to get super fancy with your containers, you guys. You can get them at the Dollar Tree, Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, your choice. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get some of the soil. I'm going to start off, actually I'm going to go ahead and start off with the tomatoes. So basically what we're going to do is just open the tomatoes. I'll open it and I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. So this is what we got in our packet of the tomato, the Ready Tomato Grow Kit. And if you're a really beginner and you really don't want to do the soil and the seeds, I highly recommend these kits because they're super simple. They have the directions on the inside, and you have everything you need. So there's the dirt palette, and then there's our seeds. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get some water. And it tells you to get some lukewarm water, but right now I'm just using some cool water. And we'll see if that works good enough too. And you're just going to put some in there. It's kind of hard to tell, but it will usually puff up when you put the water in. Okay, the palette will kind of puff up. And you can't really see. I'm going to take it over to the light. Sorry, it's kind of loud out here. So you can kind of see. Let's find a better area. So you can kind of see, but like I said, it's kind of hard because it's outside. So I'm going to add some more water to our palette here. Dirt palette. I highly recommend doing this outside because obviously it's really just really messy. As you can see, there's water and dirt kind of coming out. So once the dirt, can you guys kind of see the dirt? That's a little better. The dirt has puffed up a little bit. You're going to go ahead and add the seeds to the top. Okay, you guys, I apologize for the lighting. We had to kind of fix some things. You can kind of see it a little better now. I'm just kind of scraping the top surface with my finger and just kind of fluffing up the top. So we're going to prepare to put the seeds down, okay? So here's our seeds. We're going to open up the pack, and yes, we're going to put all the seeds in there. And the reason why we're going to put all of them in there is because some seeds will not sprout. So the more seeds you put into a pot, the better chances you have of more sprouts. You can always thin them out later, which means you'll cut some sprouts out because you don't want your plant to be too thick. But we're going to go ahead and plant all the seeds. Okay, so here's our seeds. You can kind of see in there a little bit. It's hard to kind of focus the camera. And we're going to go ahead and dump. Try to spread them out. Make sure they're not too clumpy. So notice I'm just kind of just hitting the package a little bit and they're just kind of flying out. You don't have to necessarily get them out in your hand. There's a lot of seeds in here, so I'm going to say that's enough. I've grown tomatoes before quite a bit of times, and you don't need to clump them. This is about as much as you'll need, okay? So just about this much. Do not pile them on because, like I said, you don't want seeds growing one on top of the other. Now what you're going to do is you're going to use your finger and you're going to cover them up with your finger. Cover the dirt, excuse me, cover the seeds with the dirt. Cover them up. So see how they're kind of going bye-bye? You want to cover them up, and the reason being is you don't want the sun to scorch the seeds. So once the seeds are wet with the water, the sun can scorch them. And if they scorch them, chances are they won't grow. So just use your finger. If you want, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to grab some of my soil. Here I have some soil, and I'm just going to pour some on the top. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a ton. Just sprinkle some at the top. And then pat it. Pat it with your fingers. Like I said, you don't want to put a ton of dirt on top of the seeds because then you won't allow for a lot of water to get to them, and then you want the heat to be able to get to the seeds. That's part of the germination. Okay, so here I am. Oh, let me show you. This is my little water can. This is actually my nephew's water can. It has the Ninja Turtles on it. And so basically what we're going to do, we're going to sprinkle a little water. Now what I mean by a little is I mean very tiny bit. You don't want to over water the seeds because that will drown them. But then you don't want to do too little. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to get into this kind of a view so you guys can see how much I'm pouring into the container. Okay, so see, I didn't go crazy, but then I didn't do too little either. So see how it doesn't look like mud? If your soil looks like mud after it's drained through, after the water has drained through, that means you put too much. Might put actually a little more. So the water is supposed to seep through, okay? That's why there's holes at the bottom of your container, because it's supposed to seep through. You always want to make sure you get containers with good drainage. And what that means is you want to look for the holes. Some containers do not have holes, and so you may have to actually use a hammer and a screwdriver to actually punch the holes through. I can show you guys how to do that on a different video, but I punched these holes through myself. So you always want to make sure there's good drainage, which means there's enough holes. That one only had one hole, but it was one big hole, so I'm not worried about it. Here's the other one. It has 4 holes. That's good drainage right there. I could have did a 5th hole, which is in the middle. Can you guys see that? But I decided 4 is enough. Okay, as long as you have that drainage, we're good. Okay, now let's get back to our tomatoes. So, I'm going to show you the dirt again. See, it does not look like mud. Okay, you don't want it to look soupy. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to place it in the sunlight. Be mindful of where you place your plants. And why I say that is make sure it's not where it's a windy area where they get knocked over, and make sure it's in a place where they'll get a lot of sun. Especially tomatoes. Tomatoes love the sun. The seeds love the sun. So the more they're in the sun, the more prone they will be to sprouting and growing. Okay? I'm also going to put other containers next to it. That way, if there is a little bit of a wind, it won't knock over. Alright, let's go on to the next. So you guys, I'm going to go ahead and plant the next stuff. I'm going to go a little faster. Next, I'm going to plant the jalapeno. And jalapeno is super, super duper easy as well. So I have my tomato, my tomatoes over there. You guys can see it. And a jalapeno. And I have my cilantro. Yummy. And I have my onions. Okay. This is a salsa garden. I love salsa. I'm a huge fan of salsa. And I live in Southern California, so this is a great place to grow salsa gardens because there's a lot of sun, it's a lot of heat. And so these in particular the peppers and tomatoes love sun. So you want to make sure if you're growing them in a place that doesn't get a lot of sun, try to find an area either in your house or in your backyard or garden that has a lot of sun. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and grab some soil. And you're wondering, how much soil do I put into the pot? What you want to do is, there's always a little line. I always usually go as close as I can to that line, depending on how much soil you have. So if you don't have that much soil, maybe you'll go a little below the line. If you do have enough soil, get as close to that line as possible. Okay, so as you guys see, I got as close to that line as possible. It doesn't have to be exactly where the line is, but you know, you want to make sure it's closer to the top than the bottom. And reason being is because you want the sun to be able to get down to that seed. So your soil is all the way down here, right here. Then the sun is it's not gonna get it hot as fast. So I normally do the soil line just about, probably around here, this area. So right below this little line here. So like right around here is fine. Okay. So what you see I'm doing is I'm just kind of raking the soil, making sure there's no huge clumps. You don't want a big clumps of soil. Rake it a little bit. And then what I also do is, before I put the seeds, I also add a little water. Just a little bit, just to moisten up the soil. Okay? And you can also rake through a little bit. Okay? Now, with the jalapenos, same thing with the tomatoes, so we're going to just open them. We're not going to count seeds or anything. We're just going to go ahead and put them all around in the soil. So there is our pepper seeds. They look a lot like our tomato seeds. Just lightly kind of put them down. And like I said, I'm not counting. But like, guys, make sure you spread them around. Do not put them all in one little area, because then you'll be like, you might get some crazy stuff going on if you do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get some more soil. Just about a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and lightly dust it over the seeds. Make sure you're covering the seeds up with your dirt. See? Most of the seeds you can't see anymore. I'm going to do a little more. You don't want a super thin layer of soil over your seeds, okay? Because once the water hits it, the seeds will be back out on the top. That's happened to me before. So you don't want to be too light on the soil. You don't want to be too much. You don't want to grab a ton of soil to cover your seeds. Just because, like I said, you want the water and the sun to be able to get to them. Alright, that's enough. Press down with your fingers, just so it's kind of compacted. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add a little more water. Now I'll do this side view so you guys can kind of see better how much water I'm putting in. Go in a circle motion, just so you guys make sure that you get the entire layer of soil. And as you notice, that water soaks up through the soil pretty fast. Okay, that's the kind of soil you want. You don't want a soil that's too fine where it does not soak up, or too thick that it does not soak up the water. Okay, as you can see, look, the water's coming out at the bottom. That's a good thing. Okay, so that's enough water. And as you guys notice, the seeds have not popped back up. If you did put soil at the top and you notice your seeds are floating back to the top, you did not put enough soil. So add a little more soil. Now we're going to go ahead and place it next to our tomatoes. I'm going to put it on this side, actually. No, I'll put it on that side. So there's our jalapenos chilling next to our tomatoes. And this is in a very good sunny area. Now, on this side of my yard, this is where the sun will set. And that's usually kind of where you want your seeds to be, where the sun is going to set. Usually because the sun's a little bit hotter on that side. Whereas where the sun, when, you know, with dawn and all that, when it goes on that side, it's not as hot. So where the sun dawns and comes out of, like whatever side of your yard where the sun dawns, that's probably not the best side because it won't be as hot on that side. Whereas when it gets ready to set or closer to set, it's a little bit hotter on that side. Just from my experience. I could be wrong. Okay. My messy yard. And look, this is a huge mess, but like they said, do it in your backyard or a place you don't mind getting a lot of dirt and water, because that's what's going to happen when you start planting. Alright, on to our next. I'm going to go pretty fast, you guys, but I will explain things as I go. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add our onions. I already put the dirt inside of the container. And now I'm just going to go ahead and put water on the soil before we plant the seeds. A little bit of water. Not a ton, just a little bit to moisten up the soil. And then I'll show you the seeds, what the seeds look like, you guys. Here's our onion seeds. They're little black specks. So again, just lightly tap. Tap, 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 tap. Okay. I normally put the whole pack, and some gardeners will probably tell you don't do that. But I do it, and I've been successful with that. And like I said, because you're most likely to get a better germination. And if you want to do half the pack, you can do half the pack. That's also okay. Now, some of you guys might say, well, how can you see the black seeds once you put the dirt? You'll get so good at this, well, you'll start noticing when that's enough dirt. So if you look really close, you won't really see, oh, I see a few actually. And you can always use your finger to kind of lightly dust over them. So like I'm doing, I'm pressing in that soil. Make sure it's nice and firm. I might put a little more soil over it. Be very careful with how much soil you put over your seeds. Do not put too much. Okay? So there, I'm just patting that soil down. And I'm going to go ahead and add water. It actually becomes very simple once you get used to it. There's some people out there who say, you know, I'm not a good gardener. I'm just not good at it. It really is simple. And that's why I'm here, just to help you guys, show you that it's a simple process. It's not something that's, you know, takes a whole lot of effort. At least not in the beginning. Alright, next to our chili pepper, or excuse me, jalapeno tomato, there's our onion. Okay, so we just got one more to do. We got our salsa garden ready. I will show you guys when they sprout, how they look, and how you should take care of them. So next we're going to go ahead, lastly we're going to plant our cilantro. Yummy. Alright you guys, so here's our dirt for our cilantro. And we're just, as you guys can see, I filled it up close to the top, but not all the way up to the top, obviously. I'm going to put a little water down. And then I'm going to grab our cilantro seeds, take a look at them. Cilantro seeds are really cool because they kind of look a little bit like, I don't even know, they kind of look like little, like little watermelons to me, almost, in a sense. If that makes sense. Because they have these little lines on them that kind of remind me, resemble kind of like a melon. Okay, so there's a lot of seeds in this one, if you notice. And I still have some seeds left over, so use your judgment. If you know that there's a ton of seeds, chances are you don't want to put the entire seeds inside of one pot. And I actually put probably a little too much, so probably about half of that, I would say, for each container. Okay, but never fear, if you put a little bit too much, don't go crazy or ballistic. Just make sure they're spread out, and then put some dirt over them, okay? Because not all of these are going to germinate and sprout, okay? Ooh, it's a little windy out of here. Apologies. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and push down on that. Make sure you push down on it before you wet the soil again, because then you're going to have mud all over your hands. It's much easier when you have dry dirt. You could just kind of do that. So I still see some seeds, and I'll often do this too. Sometimes I'll just grab some in my fingers and just do that. Sprinkle it down. Pat it down, make sure there's no seeds. Perfect, I don't see really any seeds. I'm going to go ahead and add that water now in a circular motion. If you notice, I'm not full on pouring. I'm just lightly pouring, okay? So don't tip the water cup all the way down like this. That's not necessary. So all you need to do is just kind of lightly pour. I'm wasting a little water, but it's okay. I'm outside, so no harm done. Okay, so that's enough water. Definitely would say that's enough water. I'm going to go ahead and bring that over. Ooh, it's still dripping. All right, next to our tomato and next to our jalapeno, there is our cilantro. So here you guys go. Just kind of a viewpoint. Our tomatoes, our, oh my goodness, jalapeno, our onion, and our cilantro. And that is our salsa garden, just standing in the sun, ready to grow. So we'll come back. I'll show you guys once they started to sprout. I'll show you how to upkeep your garden. Thank you again for watching. This is the Garden Fairy. Bye, guys.